Ghana's expanding digital landscape has made cybersecurity a national priority, leading to the introduction of the Cybersecurity Amendment Bill 2025 to strengthen the Cybersecurity Act 2020. The bill aims to modernize regulation by enhancing child protection, strengthening data governance, expanding the powers of Cybersecurity Authority, and imposing compliance and finance requirements and organizations. However, the bill raises concern about democratic governance, media freedom, surveillance, and citizens' digital rights. This portfolio critically examines 5 key areas: data and child rights, expanded state powers, freedom of speech and financial burden, and privacy. So, with the amendment bill, Section 1 talks about data and child rights, that's balancing safety, privacy, and freedom of expression. The Cybersecurity Amendment Bill 2025 strengthens protection for children and vulnerable groups by criminalizing harmful online behaviors and requiring digital platforms to implement child safety measures. It allows guardians to monitor minors for safety, promoting safer digital space. However, the bill also expands state access to personal data through production and preservation orders, raising concerns about privacy and surveillance. These power risks of over-collection of data, monitoring of journalists and activists, and chilling effect on free expression. While child protection is essential, strong safeguard and judicial oversight are needed for protection data rights and domestic freedom.
Section 2 of the bill expands the power of the Cybersecurity Authority, granting it police power to arrest, search and seize, prosecution authority with approval from the Attorney General, the ability to freeze access linked to cybercrime, and power to impose administrative penalties and directives. While these measures may strengthen national cybersecurity, they significantly centralize power. This raises democratic governance concerns, including risk of political measures, blurred lines between regulations and law enforcement, and weak accountability. The absence of strong safeguards such as independent oversight, mandatory reporting to Parliament, limits on warrantless data access, and protection of journalists creates potential for abuse if checks and balances are insufficient.
Three, it discusses how the cybersecurity bill may affect free expression and media freedom in Ghana. It highlights provisions such as broad cyberbullying, criminalization of misleading information, mandatory compliance with CSAB, including misuse of vague terms, targeted surveillance, self-censorship by media organizations, and indirect pressure on service providers to remove critical content. These measures could increase risks for journalists, weaken investigative reporting, reduce media diversity, and potentially harm Ghana's press freedom reputation.
In Section 4, the bill examines the financial and operational burden created by the Cybersecurity Bill. It introduces new obligations such as registration fees, mandatory cybersecurity audit, licensing costs, and practitioners' accreditation fees, which increases operational expenses for organizations. Media houses, especially small and community-based outlets, they risk limiting media plurality, stifling innovation, and concentrating power in larger, well-resourced organizations.
In Section 5, the bill gives the Cybersecurity Authority more power to monitor digital activity to fight cybercrime, including accessing user data and intercepting communication. However, this raises privacy concerns such as mass data collection, secret monitoring, and potential misuse against journalists and political groups. The main concern is ensuring these powers are used fairly, with proper oversight and safeguards to protect privacy and democratic rights.
To conclude, the Cybersecurity Amendment Bill 2025 aims to strengthen Ghana's digital security and governance by risk-harming freedom of expression, media influence, and privacy. To be effective and fair, it needs strong judicial oversight, transparency, clear rules, protection for journalists, and reasonable compliance. The key recommendation of the Cybersecurity Amendment Bill 2025 call for strong oversight of the Cybersecurity Authority, transparency in surveillance, and protection of journalistic material. They emphasize fair and proportionate regulations, reduce burden on small media houses, improve cybersecurity practices by media organizations, and active civil society monitoring to ensure cybersecurity measures protecting democracy, human rights, and privacy.